This is the Bubblegum Dystopia era, and if you're not familiar with Bubblegum Dystopia, let me explain to you what it is and how it is going to be such a big part of art, media, and culture moving forward. I first came across the term Bubblegum Dystopia as it was kind of passively mentioned in an interview with David Warren, who was the production designer for Terry Gilliam's film The Zero Theorem, which came out in 2014, starred Christoph Waltz. It's sort of a zany dystopian satire. In an interview with Dreams magazine, Warren recalls, "A mate of mine came to a screening a while ago. He came up with Bubblegum Dystopia to describe the film's aesthetic. And I think that stuck because the film contains pink, oranges, and candy apple colors." While Warren uses this term strictly to describe the dystopian's aesthetic, I'd like to take it a little bit further and talk about bubblegum dystopia not only as an aesthetic, but also as sort of the content and the conflicts that are typically explored in a bubblegum dystopia. Bubblegum is something that you chew. It has no nutritional value. In fact, the main thing that you're doing with bubblegum is just passing time. It's something that is in your mouth, makes you feel busy, but doesn't actually have any impact on you. In fact, if it does, it's probably a negative impact on your teeth. Now, a bubblegum dystopia is a dystopian future usually ruled by a totalitarian corporate entity. And this entity makes the world vibrant and convenient, but hollow. The citizens are reduced to consumers as their main identity. Products have often replaced art and media entirely. And in a bubblegum dystopia, all of the citizens of this world believe that they are living in the best era of humanity, that things are better than ever. And they are so busy consuming that they don't have time to stop and actually realize how hollow everything is and how miserable they actually are. For me, the first example of this in literature is Fahrenheit 451. Now, you might not think of Fahrenheit as a bubblegum dystopia, but if you take the character Mildred, her life is so filled with vibrant colors, the 4 parlor walls, it's all consuming. She has to fill her life constantly with products and media, or else she will stop for a moment and think and realize how miserable she truly is. Overuse of medications is so common in this world that there's services that aren't even medical that come to pump drugs out of you. And Montag is so bothered by the overuse of jingles. Jingles are everywhere. Everything is a product. Everything constantly is trying to be sold to you. The Lego Movie is a fantastic example of bubblegum dystopia. The world of Lord Business is bright, it's big, everybody has access to so much stuff, everything is awesome, right? But people are so busy consuming and watching TV shows like Honey, Where Are My Pants that nobody really stops to actually think for themselves, and they don't have the time to be miserable because they're so busy consuming. I think you could argue that Barbie is a bubblegum dystopia. In Barbie Land, everything is kind of perfect, but my interpretation of the film was that Barbie Land was in a way flawed because the Barbies were designed by Mattel, who was run by men, and all of their successes were actually just manufactured to make them feel like they were successful, when in reality they actually still had no power. That was sort of my interpretation. I really liked Barbie. I thought it was a fantastic film, but I think that Barbie Land isn't this just like magical utopia where women make everything perfect. I think that it definitely depicts women positively, and I think there was some interesting feminist discourse going on. But I think if you look at the larger scope of the story, Barbie Land has some dystopian elements to it, and the visual identity definitely captures the bubblegum dystopia. So why are we heading towards bubblegum dystopia in reality, and we are probably going to see more bubblegum dystopia stories in film and media? Well, let's talk about how advertising has shifted in the last decade. It's predicted that in 4 years or so, eMarketer predicts that retail media advertising will represent 25% of all advertising spend in the world. Retail media advertising is banner ads on Amazon, sponsored product ads. It's basically any sort of advertisement that's specifically linked to a specific product that when you click on it, it will take you right there. So there will be more spending on product-specific end funnel purchases than there used to be on like TV and print and billboards, sort of these higher funnel things that were more about understanding the product, understanding the company, brand awareness. Everything is now hyper-focused on specific products and getting you to buy instantly, as quickly as possible. Gone are the days of research-based marketing. We are now living in the surveillance-based marketing era. You are constantly being watched, and all of the stuff that you do online is being fed to marketers who are then using that to target ads to you to get you to buy things. The wealth shift during COVID is also indicative of a bubblegum dystopia. You had during COVID, 99% of people had a lower income during COVID and post-COVID, while the top 10 wealthiest people in the world more than doubled their total worth in that time. Oxfam found that these people, these top 10 wealthiest people, were increasing their wealth to the tune of $15,000 a second. The power is in the hands of these corporate entities. The power is in the hand of these large corporations. And so it's going to make sense that we're going to see more stories, I think, exploring this conflict, especially dystopian stories. We've already seen it a little bit in films and novels like Ready Player One. I think the novel's way better than the film, but I think we're going to see more of this. I think the TikTok algorithm is indicative of a bubblegum dystopia. Everybody sees what they want to see over and over again, and the algorithm basically wants to get you to swipe and get more angry or get more bothered or get more excited about whatever the one thing is that you stayed on, and it will show you that again and again to get you more engaged in that topic. I don't think bubblegum dystopia is necessarily a new concept. I think I'm using the term in a new way, and it would be cool if it became a thing. I do think that it has been done before, and I think it is going to become more apparent, and I think we're actually in our own world sort of currently living in a bubblegum dystopia, which is sort of sad.